Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Mind Management, the hidden movement deduction game with competitive solo and cooperative play. And a disclaimer that I did get a review copy of this one. Solo and cooperative hidden movement isn't attempted very often and usually doesn't go very well. Does Mind Management avoid the pitfalls? Let's find out and get to the list. So first, for my number 5, which is a pro for me, are the tracking tokens. And by the way, I have they sent me the deluxe version of the game, so I'm not sure if all these components are identical in the retail version. But these are a small set of tokens that you're able to use however you want to kind of keep track of things. They recommend using the white sides, which are like the kind of undetermined sides, to mark when you've made guesses, like what time that guess could have been made, or to mark little areas you think the person might be in or might not be in. So it's a nice kind of official way to track things, but also it adds in an automatic limitation because you're only allowed to use this many tokens. Sometimes you have to take some away from where you're pretty sure the person isn't in order to have enough to use somewhere else. Interesting little choice there. And again, this is the deluxe one. I'm not sure if it's different for the retail one, but they write really well. They erase really well. There we go. So the components are nice. And yeah, it's just a quick and easy way to sort of visualize and track the information you've discovered and the guesses you have as you play the game. The number 4 thing about the game are the shift packages, and this is another pro for my taste. So in the competitive game, you unlock these. They have ones for each of the sides as different players win and lose, and they basically give a handicap option for the other team, but they add in like new cards. I'm not going to open any, by the way, for spoilers, but they add in like new cards, new elements, new rules, new bonuses, new abilities, new characters, tons of cool stuff. And they have them in the app too. Now, they're a little bit more limited in the app. There aren't as many of them, although there are still a whole bunch, and they don't always use physical components. Sometimes they kind of use the integration in the solo co-op app itself, but they work really well. It's still fun. And one of my favorite things about these is how they let you both vary up the gameplay and also kind of adjust the difficulty on the fly in solo co-op. Like if you want an easier or harder game based on who you're playing with, these achieve that in a varied and interesting way. The number 3 element I think is important to call out about the game are the immortals and the recruiting mechanic for the enemy side, the mind management side. Basically, as the mind management agent is doing their hidden movement, they're going to let you know every 2 rounds how many people they recruited. But then additionally in the full game, they're moving around these little immortal figures, and those are open information. You know which cards they're going for. And if they can get 2 immortals on 2 different locations with these icons at the same time, they recruit as well. And that's a loss condition for the players if too much recruitment happens. So this is sort of like an extra level of management and decision making on top of the hidden movement puzzle where things are more explicit. I find that interesting, although it does hurt my head sometimes. But then a fun thing, if you want to get complex, is that all of this goes into actually trying to catch the mind management agent themselves, because as the immortals go for things, you know what the mind management does not have in their deck. Again, it can get complicated, and if you don't like this, you can play the basic mode of the game that cuts out most of this entirely, but it's really an interesting additional part of the puzzle, both like spatially with the board and also in your deduction. And for number 2, I'm looking at the app because you need the app for solo and co-op play. And this is a bit of a mix for my taste. And the interface is clean. And again, they have like the shift packages to vary things up. All of that is awesome. I think it's a great, easy to use package. And just the fact that it allows solo co-op play for this type of game is already a winner in my book. But on the negative side, the thing that might bring this down to a mix for some people is that the app is a little bit onerous to use at times. You have to track the movement of everybody so the app knows where they are. So even as you're doing things on the board, it involves like a lot of clicking in the app as well. But if you can get through that minor annoyance, the app allows the solo co-op play, and I think it is a blast. And finally, my number 1, a full pro for my taste, is the actual deduction and tracking down of the mind management agent. So the main way you do that is through the ask action. You flip over one of your people and you ask about one of the features that's on your space. Each has 2. And if they've been to any, they're going to let you know with this little footprint token one of those places they've been at any point during their journey. So you need to like really carefully pick ones that will give you the information you need. And then they add on this reveal action that lets you find out the exact time they're at that place. Like on turn 7, that's where they were. Lets you narrow things down, means that you're never like completely kind of looking around, befuddled with no idea of where to go. I think it's just a really excellent way to kind of change up the usual deduction thing, because in a way you're not looking for their exact location. You're like eliminating types of places they could have been and like categories of places they could have been. And it's just really clever, works awesome. And yeah, if you like deduction games, then this is going to be a lot of fun for you, I think. So overall, I can recommend Mind Management, specifically the solo and cooperative mode, if you like hidden movement games, if you like working alone or in groups to take limited information, make inferences, try to like kind of plot out the most likely things, and make tough choices. I think you'll love this. But on the other hand, if you don't like hidden movement games, this probably won't work for you. If you don't like sort of tough challenges and not having perfect information as you deduce things, especially the complex mode of this one won't work too well for you. You might like the introductory mode. And finally, if you are totally averse to using apps in your games, then the solo and co-op, which totally requires it, won't really work. And I did do a playthrough of this one pretty recently. Click the link above if you want to see the game in action. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.